Oliver, welcome to Chicago Counterpoint.
Hi, how are you? Is this Mr. Leving?
Yes, this is Jeffery Leving.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Oliver.
Actually, I'm one of your customers. I had some issues I needed to be worked out, and I came into your office.
Well, Oliver, let me do this. Let me send you a free copy of Father's Rights, and also, if there's anything confidential about your specific case, it may not be in your best interest to discuss it on the air, because a lot of people are listening.
No, it's not derogatory.
Why don't you give Danielle your phone number, and I'll call you when the show is over, because there's a lot of attorney-client communications that are privileged, and it's not always in the best interest of someone to divulge confidences and private information on the air. So why don't you leave the number with Danielle, and I will call you the minute the show is over. And also, again, I'll send you a free copy of Father's Rights, hard-hitting and fair advice for every father involved in a custody dispute. This is a book I wrote with Dr. Kenneth Dockman. You can call 312-795-9060. And also, don't forget, and I hope this overhead graphic is there. Perfect. It's perfect. You can see the number right on this graphic, 312-795-9060. And we will send you a free copy of Father's Rights. And also, if you call this number, we can send you a free copy of this brochure published by the Fatherhood Educational Institute. This is absolutely free. It has a lot of good information in it, and it has a very interesting title, Fathers Are Parents Too, something we often forget. We also have a free giveaway here. We have an Illinois Father's Resource Guide. This is published by the state of Illinois for the Illinois Council on Responsible Fatherhood. This is free, and there's a lot of good information in here. The history and background of the Council on Responsible Fatherhood is in here. It gives information on the rights of fatherhood, and a lot of good information here. So why don't you call, and we will get you a free copy of that as well. Also, what I was hoping to talk about, gang and school violence, which is very significant. It's a big problem in our society. And one thing we have to remember is that delinquency and crime are among the many damaging effects created by father absence. And also, from my research in this area, I've discovered that the likelihood that a male will engage in criminal activity doubles when he's raised without a father. Actually, I found interesting statistics that show that 72% of adolescents charged with murder, that's 72% of adolescents charged with murder, grew up without their father. So this is significant information. And one of my theories on reducing crime and protecting children from school violence is engaging fathers in positive relationships with their children. So if you want to talk about that, if you look on the screen, we have the number to the studio right on the screen, 312-738-1060, and we'll get you on the air. And that squeaking, if you hear it, it's this chair. Last show I did, it was squeaking too, and I guess for the next show I'll have to bring my own oil and so this chair doesn't squeak so much. But please call in 312-738-1060, and I better start getting the callers on the air. Doug, welcome to Chicago Counterpoint. You're on the air, Doug.
Yes. I have a child support issue.
And what is it, sir?
Sir?
Oh, what is your child support issue?
Well, I was paying child support from 99 to 201, and I became very ill, so I filed for disability in 201. And from 201 to about 204, I was still sick, but then I had brain surgery. And to make a long story short, I had been filed, as I filed disability, they kept denying me until after brain surgery, and then they denied me again. So then I got approved last year. But my child support was still coming up. But I had told the hearing, the hearing officer that I had filed disability, and so she kept my child support kept going up. So my son got a lump sum, and I got one too. But it put a lien on my lump sum. And from what I understand from the advice lawyer, that they was only supposed to take 20% of my lump sum. Because I have bills to, I have past due bills to pay. I used to own a building, and I foreclosed on. It's just so much, and so I went to court on the 15th. So they're taking out $100 a month out of my disability check, which is okay. But I now got the government because that building I had, I owe tax on the building. They put a levy on my check for so much, and I'm barely living now.
Well, first of all, the 20% figure you referred to is the minimum child support guideline in the state of Illinois per statute. But that doesn't really mean it's the minimum, because courts can go below the minimum. What I would like to do is talk to you about this. I'd be glad to send you a copy of the child support law if you call 312-795-9060. If you call, I'll give you a free copy of the law. But what I really would need to do is talk to you in detail, because I'd like to review your file, because what you're telling me raises a lot of red flags and questions in my mind, and I don't want you to end up a target looking for an arrow. So why don't you make a copy of the file, let me read it, and why don't you call 312-795-9060, and why don't we talk, let me see what educational input and guidance I can give you. And again, that's 312-795-9060.